when 7-year-old Tyler scanned a crowded Flagstaff Walmart parking lot with desperate searching eyes and locked onto a leather-vested stranger loading groceries onto his Harley, the boy made a split-second decision to trust someone who looked strong enough to help. The 3 words Tyler silently mouthed, "She's not my mom," sent a retired cop's instincts into overdrive and set off a chain of events that would turn a routine Saturday afternoon into a high-speed chase, a parking lot blockade, and the rescue of a child who'd been missing from San Diego for 3 terrifying days. The Walmart parking lot in Flagstaff, Arizona was packed on a Saturday afternoon in early October. Families loading groceries, college students from NAU grabbing supplies, tourists stopping for road trip essentials on their way to the Grand Canyon. It was the kind of everyday chaos that made people invisible to each other. Everyone focused on their own carts, their own lists, their own lives. Ray Crusher Bennett was loading his saddlebags with the week's groceries, annoyed that his truck was in the shop, and he was stuck making supply runs on his Harley. He was 51 years old, president of the Northern Arizona chapter of the Granite Riders MC, with shoulders like a linebacker and a gray-streaked beard that reached mid-chest. The club ran clean, veteran support programs, toy runs, community outreach. And Ray had been a member for 23 years after retiring from the Phoenix PD. Old cop instincts died hard, which is why he noticed them. A woman in her 30s, bleached blonde hair, too much makeup, wearing designer sunglasses and an outfit that screamed trying too hard, was pushing a shopping cart across the parking lot toward a white SUV. Beside her, holding her hand in a grip that looked uncomfortably tight, was a boy of maybe 7 or 8 years old. The kid's appearance didn't match the woman's at all. She was put together and polished. He looked like he'd been dressed in whatever was handy, a wrinkled Pokemon t-shirt that was too small, basketball shorts that were too big, mismatched socks, and sneakers that had seen better days. His dark hair was uncombed and stuck up in places. But it wasn't the mismatched appearance that caught Ray's attention. It was the boy's face. Ray had been a cop for 26 years before retiring. He'd worked missing persons, Amber Alerts, child abduction cases. He knew what a scared kid looked like. This boy's eyes were too wide, too watchful. His small body was rigid with tension, even while he was being pulled along. His free hand kept reaching up toward his face like he wanted to wipe his eyes or his nose, but stopped himself. And he kept looking around the parking lot, with desperate searching glances, like he was looking for help, but didn't know how to ask for it. The woman stopped at a white SUV with California plates, popped the trunk, and started loading bags. The boy stood very still beside her, and Ray saw him turn his head, scanning the parking lot again. Those desperate eyes swept past Ray, moved on, then came back and locked on. Ray felt that old cop instinct flare. Something's wrong. The boy stared at Ray for 3 seconds that felt like 30. Then, deliberately, the kid mouthed 3 words. No sound, just lips moving in exaggerated, careful shapes. "She's not my mom." Ray's blood went cold. The boy mouthed it again, making sure Ray understood. "She's not my mom." Then the woman's hand clamped on the boy's shoulder, spinning him around. "Get in the car, Tyler, now!" Her voice was sharp, authoritative, the kind that expected obedience. The boy climbed into the back seat immediately, that practiced compliance that came from fear. The woman slammed the trunk, got behind the wheel, and started the engine. Ray made a split-second decision that would either save a child's life or make him look like a paranoid idiot. He swung onto his Harley, fired the engine, and rode straight to the parking lot's only exit. Then he stopped his bike sideways across the lane, completely blocking it, and killed the engine. The white SUV approached the exit, then stopped when the driver saw a 6'2", 250-pound biker blocking her path. Ray could see her face through the windshield, irritation shifting to concern, shifting to calculation. She honked. Ray didn't move. She honked again, longer. Ray pulled out his phone and very deliberately held it up so she could see he was dialing. Her eyes went wide. She threw the SUV in reverse, but Ray had already hit send. 911. What's your emergency? This is Ray Bennett, retired Phoenix PD. I'm at the Walmart on East Route 66 in Flagstaff. There's a white SUV, California plates. He rattled off the number he'd memorized. With a woman and a young boy, maybe 7 or 8 years old. The kid just mouthed to me that she's not his mother. I've blocked the parking lot exit, and I need units here now. This could be an abduction in progress. The dispatcher's voice sharpened immediately. Sir, maintain your position if safe to do so. Units are being dispatched. Can you describe the vehicle occupants? Ray provided descriptions while watching the SUV reverse toward the far end of the parking lot. The woman was panicking, looking for another exit. But this Walmart only had one vehicle entrance exit, a security design feature that was about to work in a kidnapped child's favor. Sir, she's trying to find another way out, Ray said into the phone. There isn't one. This lot only has the one exit. But I'm watching her and she's desperate to leave. Officers are 2 minutes out. Stay on the line. The SUV stopped at the far end of the lot. Ray could see the woman on her phone, gesturing frantically. Through the back window, he could just barely make out the boy's small form in the back seat. Then the woman made another decision. The SUV started moving again, not toward the exit, but toward the perimeter of the parking lot, where there was a curb and landscaping. She was going to try to drive over it. She's attempting to jump the curb on the northeast corner, Ray reported. The SUV hit the curb with a jarring thud, tires scraping, then lurched over the landscaping and onto the adjacent street. Ray swore, fired up his Harley, and gave chase while staying on the line with dispatch. He wasn't letting this kid disappear. The SUV turned onto Route 66, heading east out of town. Ray followed, keeping a safe distance but never losing visual contact. His bike was faster and more maneuverable than her SUV. She couldn't outrun him, and she knew it. Tell us in the comments where you're watching from today, because this story will remind you that child abductions can happen anywhere. Busy parking lots in broad daylight, and being willing to act on suspicious behavior matters, no matter where you are in the world. 2 Flagstaff PD units screamed onto Route 66 from side streets, lights blazing. The SUV, boxed in by police cars ahead and a biker behind, pulled over. Officers emerged with weapons drawn. Driver, turn off the engine and show me your hands. Ray stopped his bike 50 feet back, engine still running, ready to move if she tried to run again. The woman's door opened slowly and she stepped out, hands raised, face a mask of indignant confusion. Officer, what's going on? I haven't done anything wrong. I'm just trying to get home with my son. One officer kept her covered while his partner approached the passenger side. Through the tinted windows, Ray could see the small figure in the back seat. The officer opened the door and knelt down. Hey buddy, what's your name? Ray couldn't hear the boy's response, but he saw the officer's body language change. Tension increasing, radio going to his mouth. Within minutes, more units arrived. A detective emerged from an unmarked car and approached Ray, while other officers detained the woman and secured the boy. Mr. Bennett, I'm Detective Sarah Chen. Dispatch said you reported a possible abduction. Ray explained what he'd seen. The boy's mismatched appearance, his fearful behavior, the desperate way he'd scanned the parking lot, and the 3 words he'd mouthed. She's not my mom. The kid made direct eye contact and told me silently, Ray said. I'm former Phoenix PD. I've worked child abduction cases. That wasn't a custody dispute or a kid being dramatic. That was genuine fear. Chen nodded. Your instincts were correct, Mr. Bennett. The boy is Tyler Mendez, 7 years old, reported missing from a park in San Diego 3 days ago. The woman is Jennifer Kessler, wanted in connection with his disappearance. We're still piecing together how she knew him, but preliminary information suggests she was a volunteer at his after-school program. Ray felt sick. 3 days. This kid had been with his abductor for 3 days, and if he hadn't mouthed those words to a stranger in a parking lot, he'd have disappeared. Completely. How's the kid? Scared but physically unharmed. We're getting him checked out, then reuniting him with his parents. They've been driving from San Diego and should be here in about 4 hours. Chen paused. Mr. Bennett, you potentially saved this child's life. If she'd made it to the interstate, if she'd gotten him across state lines or to wherever she was taking him, she didn't need to finish. They both knew how those stories ended. Later, at the police station giving his formal statement, Ray was sitting in an interview room when Detective Chen returned with someone else, a victim advocate, a woman in her 40s with kind eyes. Mr. Bennett, Tyler asked if he could meet you. He's been very insistent. We normally wouldn't allow this, but given the circumstances and the fact that you're the one he signaled for help, we thought it might provide closure for both of you. Are you comfortable with that? Ray nodded, his throat tight. They brought Tyler in, the boy now wearing clothes that actually fit, provided by the Victim Advocacy Center, his hair combed, his face scrubbed clean. But those eyes still carried the shadow of fear and 3 days of terror. Tyler looked at Ray, and his small face crumpled with relief. You saw me, he said, his voice barely above a whisper. I tried to tell lots of people, but they didn't see. But you saw me. Ray knelt down to the boy's level. You were very brave, Tyler. You kept trying to get help even when people weren't listening. That took a lot of courage. I learned about stranger danger, Tyler said seriously. But my teacher also said if you're in real danger, you ask anyone for help, even strangers. She said look for policemen or firefighters or moms with kids. But I saw you and you had a motorcycle and you looked strong and I thought maybe you would help. You thought right, kid. I'm glad you asked me. She said she was taking me to my mom, Tyler said, and tears started sliding down his cheeks. She said my mom was in an accident and she was supposed to get me, but it didn't feel right. And she wouldn't let me call my mom. And she kept getting madder when I asked questions, and I was so scared. The victim advocate moved closer, resting a gentle hand on Tyler's shoulder. Tyler, you did everything right. You trusted your instincts. You kept looking for help, and you found someone who listened. Tyler wiped his face with his sleeve, looking back at Ray. Thank you for blocking the car. Thank you for not letting her take me away. Anytime, kid, Ray said, his voice rough. Anytime. If this story has touched your heart, take a moment to share it and subscribe to Bike Diaries. Because Tyler's courage in silently asking for help and Ray's willingness to trust his instincts and act immediately prove that children in danger need adults who pay attention, who trust their gut when something feels wrong, and who are willing to cause a scene, block an exit, and risk looking foolish if it means potentially saving a life. 4 hours later, Tyler's parents arrived at the Flagstaff police station. Ray had stayed, unable to leave, until he knew the kid was safely reunited with his family. When Tyler saw his mother come through the door, he ran to her with a cry that was part relief, part release of 3 days of held-in terror. Maria Mendez dropped to her knees and wrapped her son in her arms, sobbing into his hair, while her husband, Marco, stood behind them, with tears streaming down his face. The family held each other for long minutes, And every cop in that station had to look away, because watching that kind of reunion broke you open and put you back together at the same time. When they finally pulled apart, Maria Mendez looked around the room until her eyes found Ray. She walked over, still holding Tyler's hand, her face streaked with tears. "You're the man who saw him, who blocked the exit." "Yes, ma'am. My baby," her voice broke. "My baby was missing for 3 days and 74 hours, and every second I thought I'd never see him again. I thought—" She couldn't continue, overwhelmed. Marco stepped in, his hand on his wife's shoulder. "Mr. Bennett, the detective told us what you did, how you recognized Tyler was in trouble, how you blocked the parking lot so she couldn't escape, how you chased her down when she tried to run." He paused, his voice thick with emotion. "You gave us back our son. How do parents thank someone for that?" "You don't," Ray said simply. "You just hold him tight and keep him safe." Maria pulled Ray into a fierce hug, and Ray, this massive biker who'd seen combat in Desert Storm and 26 years of police work, felt his own eyes burning. Tyler tugged on Ray's vest. "Can I show my parents your motorcycle? I told them about it." Ray smiled. "Yeah, kid. Let's go see the bike." Outside the police station, Tyler explained to his parents in enthusiastic detail how Ray had blocked the exit with his Harley, how the bike was big and loud, how Ray had chased them down. The boy's trauma was still there. He'd need therapy, time, and safety to heal. But in this moment, he was just a 7-year-old excited about a motorcycle. "Can I sit on it?" Tyler asked. Ray looked at Maria and Marco, who both nodded. Ray lifted Tyler onto the bike seat, and the boy's face lit up with the first genuine smile Ray had seen from him. "When I grow up, I'm going to have a motorcycle like this," Tyler announced, "and I'm going to help people like you did." "That sounds like a good plan, kid," Ray said. The Mendez family stayed in Flagstaff for 2 days while the investigation continued, and Tyler was evaluated by child psychologists. Before they left to drive back to San Diego, they met Ray one more time at a diner. "We want you to be part of Tyler's life," Maria said, "if that's okay with you. He talks about you constantly, about the man who saw him when everyone else looked away. We'd like to stay in touch, if you're willing." "I'd be honored," Ray said. Over the following years, the Mendez family and Ray maintained contact. They sent Christmas cards, birthday messages, updates on Tyler's life. Tyler's trauma from the abduction required 2 years of therapy, but he healed. He became a confident kid who spoke at his school about trusting your instincts and asking for help when something feels wrong. When Tyler turned 10, the Mendez family drove to Flagstaff for a weekend visit. Tyler had grown taller, more confident, but he still lit up when he saw Ray's motorcycle. They went riding together, Tyler in proper safety gear, arms wrapped around Ray's waist, laughing with pure joy as they cruised through the Arizona mountains. That night at dinner, Tyler said something that stuck with Ray forever. "I learned in therapy that it's okay to be scared, but being scared doesn't mean you're weak. It means you're human. And asking for help when you're scared is brave, not weak." "Who taught you that?" Ray asked. "My therapist, and you. Because you taught me that asking for help works, that there are people watching who will help if you ask. I mouthed those words to 6 people before you, and they all looked away or didn't understand or didn't want to get involved. But you saw me and you helped. You taught me that asking is worth it, because eventually someone will answer." Ray looked at this kid who'd been through hell at 7 years old and had come out the other side brave and wise beyond his years. "You taught me something too, Tyler." "What?" "That paying attention matters. That trusting your gut matters. That being willing to look like an idiot blocking a parking lot. Exit matters if there's even a chance a kid needs help. You made me a better person." The Granite Riders MC started a program after Tyler's rescue, Eyes Open Initiative. They ran workshops teaching people to recognize signs of child abduction, trafficking, and distress. They taught parents to teach their children that asking strangers for help in genuine emergencies was okay and smart. They distributed cards with warning signs and what to do if you saw something wrong. Over 5 years, 3 more Granite Riders members recognized and intervened in suspicious situations based on that training. 2 were attempted abductions. 1 was a teenager being trafficked. Each time, someone paid attention. Each time, someone trusted their gut. Each time, someone was willing to act even if they might be wrong. Each time, a life was saved. Ray kept one thing from that Walmart parking lot, a security camera screenshot that Detective Chen had given him, showing the moment Tyler mouthed, "She's not my mom," while looking directly at Ray. The image was grainy and black and white, but you could see the desperation in the boy's eyes, the deliberate movement of his mouth forming those 3 critical words. It hung in the Granite Riders clubhouse, with a caption Tyler had written years later. Sometimes the bravest thing you can do is ask a stranger for help. And sometimes the most heroic thing you can do is pay enough attention to see someone asking. When Tyler turned 16, he showed up at a Granite Riders community event wearing a t-shirt he'd designed himself. It showed a motorcycle blocking an exit with the words, "She's not my mom. If something feels wrong, speak up. Someone is watching. Someone will help." He'd made 50 shirts and sold them, donating all the proceeds to the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children. "I want other kids to know what I learned," Tyler told Ray, "that there are people watching, that asking for help works, that you're never completely alone even when you feel like it." Ray looked at this young man who'd been a terrified 7-year-old silently mouthing a desperate plea in a parking lot, who'd been brave enough to keep trying even after 6 people had ignored him, who'd grown into someone who wanted to help other kids feel less alone. "Your parents raised a good man," Ray said. "You helped raise me too," Tyler replied. "You showed me what it looks like to care about strangers, to pay attention, to act when it matters. That's the kind of person I want to be." Because that was the truth, wasn't it? That one person paying attention could save a life. That trusting your gut when something felt wrong was worth the risk of being mistaken. That blocking an exit and causing a scene and looking potentially foolish was a small price to pay if it meant a child went home to their parents instead of disappearing forever. The story of Tyler in the Walmart parking lot became part of Granite Riders' identity. It was a reminder that their community role wasn't just charity rides and toy drives. It was being present, aware, and willing to act when vulnerable people needed someone to see them and take them seriously. Thank you for watching this story. If it reminded you to pay attention in public spaces, to trust your instincts when something feels wrong, and to understand that children in danger are often trying desperately to signal for help in ways that require us to truly see them, please share it. Subscribe to Bike Diaries for more stories proving that awareness saves lives, that one person choosing to act can stop a nightmare in progress, and that sometimes the most important thing you can do is see someone who's trying to be seen. Tell us in the comments, have you ever noticed something that felt wrong and acted on it? Have you taught children in your life that asking strangers for help in real emergencies is okay? Your awareness matters because predators count on bystanders looking away. And every person willing to pay attention and act becomes part of the solution that brings children home safe.